quick look at how the market's been doing in Namibia. Let's have a look there at the overall index for Namibia, and an improvement there of half a percentage point on the month, down 4.64%. And then on the Namibian local index, let's have a look at the numbers there, the same. On the currency front, the Namibian dollar, let's have a look at how that has been performing. And the dollar rand, the dollar exchange rate, Namibian dollar, US dollar, that's 10.01. And that's a shift of half a percentage point there as well, 6.34% up on the month. Joining us now from our studio at CNBC in Windhoek, or NBC in Windhoek, is James Cumming, CFA. He is from Simonis Storm Securities. Good afternoon to you, James. Let's talk firstly about the credit extension numbers and their relation to other big economic indicators in Namibia.
Hi, David. Good afternoon. The April private sector credit extensions were released at the beginning of last week, and we saw that the total debt growth for the last 12 months has been about 10%, and it grew to 79 billion Namibia dollars, which represents about 76% of the GDP. Now, if you break that down into its subsectors, government debt hasn't grown much. It's grown about 2.6% for the year. But we see the big growth coming in from the private sector, and the total private sector has grown about 14% for the year, mainly driven by the corporates, which have increased their debt by about 18%. And your individuals have grown by about 12% for the year. And if you analyze the numbers, we see the big increases coming through from mortgages. Although overall the mortgage growth has been slowing down, and as a result your total credit numbers have also, or growth has been slowing down recently. So last year, November, we were looking at a total credit growth, annualized credit growth of about 19%, and that has now dropped down to about 14% per annum for the private sector.
James, what's this telling us about the economy in Namibia? Because on other indicators, there would seem to be some growth.
Yeah, the economy is still growing strongly. Around about 4.5%, 5% for this year that we expected to grow. But it is telling us that it looks like the housing prices are starting to slow down. There's been incredible growth in your house price levels, and that's somewhat been confirmed by a recent report on the house price level growth. So we can see that coming through, and maybe there is a slight slowdown coming through in the economy. If you think about the drought in Namibia that we're currently experiencing, that's affecting the economy. The slow international economic growth is also having an effect on Namibia, and also the lower commodity prices are also starting to feed through into the economy. So we are seeing a slight slowdown in the economic growth in Namibia.
What's the view on consumer indebtedness? And I ask that because in South Africa we've got another report out today from our national credit regulator saying that indebtedness is increasing. And one of the stats that came out of it is that there are something like 50% of consumers' debt accounts are in distress or not paid up or not satisfactory. Do you have measures like that? And what's your sense of how much the consumer can take in Namibia?
Unfortunately, we don't have that amount of granular statistics for Namibia, but the general sense is that Namibia is in a similar situation to South Africa in terms of debt per household or debt per individual. Perhaps maybe not as many accounts in distress due to the better economic situation here, but it is does look as if it's becoming a concern, especially in terms of your unsecured lending and your micro lending, where your interest rates are fairly high, and which is using or requiring more and more of your monthly disposable income to actually pay off these debts. So I think there is a similar trend, but maybe not as bad as South Africa. But it is definitely something we need to keep an eye on.